What's up, everybody? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again, and we're going to discuss why Afro men are not wrong for getting passports and leaving the B-dubs alone. All right, and we're going to show you some things, but there is one overarching reason or conclusion that Afro men have come to based on how they've been treated by society as a whole in the United States, based on the fact that our voices are the only ones that is summarily silenced on like YouTube, TikTok, and everything else. When we talk about our issues, everybody's allowed to be everybody else is allowed to be monetized in some way, shape, form, or fashion. They're allowed to have their channels monetized in some way, shape, form, or fashion, all except for Afro men on YouTube. Now, that is a racist matter. But then again, racism exists in this way. They just don't say the N-word. All right? So, what's an Afro man to do? Therein lies the question. What is the Afro man to do? Get a passport and vote. And so, this is why we're leaving. All right? Let me greet everybody real quick. Worden hardu gudag ola oitelabain vasas los bonjour mes amis kedo bawani konnichiwa ni hao ni ama sani bonani jambo herbayagani assalamu alaikum and shalom. I'll show you the significance of these pictures right here when we get to them. But first, let me remind you, get to smash the thumbs up button now. So if you could look down to your right and just hit the thumbs up button. Brothers, share the video to donate to what the channel actually does in the community. My Cash App and my PayPal me will be in the description box. All right, along with my email, which will be in the description box as well. And so let's break this down. Let's get into it. And we'll show you a couple of things that's going on. For one, okay, so what's going on here is they go on these shows, they go in the media, oh, look, we're changing the black woman. But the Afro man don't feel the change. When we look on TikTok, when we look on social media, when we go out in public, we see that they still have these same attitudes. They're miserable, resentful, furious, and angry at things they have caused to themselves. In other words, the Afro man was never a part of their choices. They made their choices on their own. They got together with thugs and stuff like that, and then they only want us to accept them after they've lived a horrendous life based on said choices. And to be honest, the Afro man ain't even looking for the woman in the middle, because there's something that comes with the weave wonder, right? Now, here's a caveat here. There was a time where a black woman's weight was never called into question when it came to dating preferences. I know that in my lifespan, I've dated heavier set women, thin women, this, that, and the other. I never looked at the weight, per se. Really, most of us didn't. We didn't start looking at it till black women made it a requirement that we be 6 feet with six-pack with a six-figure income. The same broke woman wanted us to have a six-figure income, not so that they could join with us and make it better, but so that they can exploit it. All right? And so we've been under this thing where they're trying to push us into a narrative, the black woman is changing, but we don't feel the change. All right? So brothers saying, this is one of the reasons we're going to jet. But then there's the SELLOUTS reason. All right, so now let's take a look at the SELLOUTS versus reality. Okay, the SELLOUTS is this: Chadman Boseman with Lupita Nyong'o. All right, but there's a reality that people aren't realizing. This is what the movies are trying to promote. Afro men, you should only stick with the black woman. Basically, no matter how she treats you, right? But listen to the words of wisdom that Caucasians are teaching their people.
And this guy puts up his hand who hasn't contributed anything all night. He says, listen, I got to ask you a question. He says, no, this is a tough one. I've been running this business out of my dorm, and I'm about to graduate. I'm making about $5 million a year in free cash flow. And I said, I don't hear a problem. He said, that's not the problem. My fiance came to me today and said that she's going to leave me. And I said, why? Because I'm not spending any time with her family. I don't have any time on weekends. I can't go out to the soccer games with her nephews and stuff. And I just can't because I'm so busy. And I got to keep my business going. I got to graduate my degree. What do I do? Which one is easier to replace? The girlfriend or the business? I mean, you got to ask that question. You're making $5 million a year, and every woman in this class now knows this.
All right. A lot of us men run across this, that we're doing something. We are in our calling. And the first thing that a black woman does, or any woman for that matter, but I deal with the black community because, y'all see, all right, is they take that away from us. You're not spending any time. You was doing what you always do, which is if you have a movement, you was continuing in your movement. And so why do they feel that their sole job and purpose is to stop you from doing what you were doing when you met them, right? But they don't stop doing what they're doing for you. Think about that. The woman, especially the black woman, will never stop her stuff for you. Well, let's not say never. Will not stop herself generally for an Afro man. She'll continue doing what she's doing. All right? And we just have to sit there and take that. But if we continue to do what we're doing, they'll see what we're doing and call that out and be angry at us and want to leave us alone. Right? And so we have to have this mentality. Which would you choose? All right? And if you come across most of the Afro women having this attitude, then why choose them? Get your passport and vote. Leave. Go to women that appreciate men that have vision, whether it's in philanthropy or business. All right? Or you could deal with this.
You said you were going to take care of me.
Something. I said, you go to the store. I said, you go to Hidden Souls and you get
What
something.
happened to you taking care of me?
I am taking care of you. I'm buying some
That's
shoes
not
in
taking
my
care
purse.
of me if you're not taking care of my
Bro, what
family.
are you doing, bro? Don't ring that up on my tab, bro. Don't ring that up on my tab.
First of all, don't talk to the
ring
man
it up
like
on my
that.
tab. No, I'm saying, like,
Don't worry about him. He's just
I'm
acting
dead
like a broke
serious.
nigga
Like,
right now.
no, for real. Like,
Just keep bringing it up.
See how she said, don't worry about him? The blatant disrespect that we go through. And these are women that be around, be like, oh, men, we're sorry. We're for you now. No, they're not. And you will learn this if you be with them any period of time. They will show you who they really are. And she says, if you're not going to buy stuff for her whole family, in other words, waste your money, all right, then that's not taking care of me. Because her job is to extort you, not only on behalf of herself, but on behalf of her family. But the real reason is she works for the government, knowingly or unknowingly. How? She's their spy. She drains you of your money so that you can't do anything fruitful with it for yourself or a community that you want to build.
You really
bro,
are
that's what I'm doing this. What are we doing? No, bro, that's what we doing, bro. I'm not buying her friends.
seriously doing this in public?
18 cousins.
And notice how she's trying to shame him, where she's the one that's acting out in public. The dude is standing his ground. Now, I would have left. I would have walked out of the store. Seriously. The relationship would have been over, and I would have been gone. Because looks and coochie is not that important to me to put up with this kind of abuse from a woman.
In public, are
I'm
you
buying nothing,
serious?
bro. I'm buying her something.
Are you
Size
serious?
7 for you. You wear a 7. You don't wear no 6.5. You don't wear no 8. You wear a size
So what I hear
7.
is you're being a broke
One
man.
purse.
What I hear is you're being a broke man.
Okay, now here's the other insult. What I hear is you're being a broke man. They assault you for being a good steward of your money. Most broke men would do what she says because that's why they're broke. This dude isn't broke because he's not paying attention to her. All right, but I would leave her alone. She needs to be left alone.
Might do me a favor, this is Hidden Soul.
You was flying all this money and like you had all this money. You was flying like you had all this money.
Bro, look at this shit, bro. She expect me. Y'all look at this shit, bro. She expect me to buy her friends, her mama, shoes. And I told her to get her a size 7. Get you some shoes.
Get me and my homegirls.
All right, cool. Check it out.
Her and her homegirls, not just her family. Why? Because these women are getting in relationships with us not because they appreciate us, not because they care about us, not for love, not for anything, but it's to front us in front of family and homegirls. If she can't take you in front of homegirls, then she don't appreciate you. She's not going to appreciate you. If she can't leave homegirls alone, she won't appreciate you. And if she has a bunch of homegirls but tell you that she's alone, then she's not going to appreciate you. All right? So what do? You get passports and go. Okay, now, so let's talk about the real deal. This is who Chadwick Boseman is really dating. She's Japanese, right? Because men that get passports and get around will find that they have much better options outside the United States than they do inside the United States. Now remember, I told you what they were trying to promote in these movies and stuff, because you have sellouts, dudes that try to keep us on the plantation, keep our minds plantation minded, and say that we only have one option when it comes to our dating preferences as Afro men, but the black woman could date whoever she want, and them dudes will still call her queen, woman goddess, goddess of coochie, and all the rest of that stuff. All right, but the Afro men, we don't have them options. We're not called anything. Notice they don't call us anything. Every once in a while, just to be facetious, you'll see a female or two, a sprinkle, hey king. But no, and that's only after we call them queen. You see, so who's worshiping who? Who's leading who? That's why you get your passport and leave. All right, but here is the real deal of why you get your passport and leave. Pay attention to this right after the Black Panther movement and the mentality of black women, not only here, but the African ones too. And now think about what the woman king has done to these women with this, and brought them the same mentality. Or it would have worked had people not done research, like Lupita Nyong'o. Got much respect for that woman for her research she did on that movie. But pay attention.
What is this representation of women always need to be saved by men? And, what is that about? That's gatekeepers deciding that that's what we need to see. And it's time to change that. Please.
So now that it's time to change that, she needs to be aware of this little thing that's going on.
Is on track to become a crisis, and black women are being affected the most by it.
So as a low-income property manager who's been working in low-income housing for majority of her career, I also think we should hold these women accountable. Let's be honest. We bring them in, we interview them, we screen them, we get their household demographics and their income. Of course, they're not reporting these people. Not just Pookie and them living with them. They got their cousin Lele and whoever else staying with them. And they're not reporting this to us.
Wow.
And then when we get word through the system that one, you're working. You got extra people living in your household because your neighbors been told on you because they sick of all that coming and going and traffic that you got going in and out your house. And you're getting these lease violations. You think
Well,
we're just supposed to let everything slide. That's not going to happen. You already living in subsidized housing. You are getting a benefit that a lot of Americans don't get.
preach, sister.
But yet you want to take advantage of the system and try to take advantage of us as
Hallelujah.
property managers, and when we do our
Mm-hmm.
job, oh, now we bitches and you want to report us to HUD and you want to report us to our companies.
Ha,
But we have a job to do.
ha.
Your job is to pay the prorated portions of rent in which have been assigned to you, which
Uh-huh.
typically is going to be little to nothing.
Wow.
Make sure that you report when you're supposed to report. We give you 10 days to report any changes in your demographics, the same way as food stamps and anybody else. You get 10 days to tell us whether you got a job,
Ain't
lost a
gonna have
job,
no
had a
place
kid,
to
somebody
live.
moved in, moved out. Report it. That's the easiest
Instead
thing
of
to
the
do.
right
But
hand,
when
you're
you
getting the
don't,
left
and
for
now
the
you're getting put out,
fellowship.
I ain't got to go nowhere. So now we filed eviction on you. And on top of you getting lease violated and you also
Wow.
having limited income, now you got an eviction on your record.
Kick
And
them
don't nobody want
bricks.
to rent to you. And once you got an eviction in HUD housing, you are a pariah. Nobody's going to
Don't
really
let
want to
the
rent to
door
you. Nobody's
hit
going
you
to take a
where the
chance on you.
Lord
And if you have
spit
a
you.
balance, you're not going to get a Section 8 voucher. You
Nope.
can't go stay in HUD housing
Uh-uh.
anywhere else. So if you are allowing people to live in your home and you're not doing
Wow.
what you're supposed to do and being held accountable, we don't have to
Pookie and
hold you
Ray
accountable.
Ray
I'm sorry.
making
Now,
all
if
the
you are doing what you're supposed
babies.
to do and you're reporting and you're still struggling, there are agencies that you can go to that'll help. There's
Videotaping
agencies in
like
Georgia.
Ray
I know
J.
you can go online to Google the Georgia website for Georgia Housing Assistance. And in South Carolina, contact SC State Plus. They are giving out money left and
Giving
right
out money left and
if you're
right.
struggling. But if don't nobody know that you're struggling, but you got all this extra stuff going on in
Because
your
you
household,
have too
how do you
much
expect us to keep you as a
pride.
tenant? You're not making us want to help you. And that's
Wow.
our job, to help you. That's what we're trying to do.
Uh-huh. Can I get an amen? That's why these brothers are getting these passports and dating these Filipinas. Okay. So the B-Dub said it themselves. They don't need no man. All right, so what's a man to do? You can either deal with the woman on the right or have a submissive woman from the left. But in order to get the submissive woman, you need to get a passport, learn the language, do some work. But here's the thing, it ends up being worth it because at the end of the day, the brothers are part of a PSYOPs run by women who are married, who are telling other black women, you don't really need no man, that you got to WAP and stuff like that, right? And in the end, what they're really doing is helping this system destroy the Afro man. And this is what the Afro man believes based on how we're being treated by everyone. So we're saying, let the B-Dub hit that wall alone. Because instead of choosing us as viable men to produce children with, they chose Bebe and Pookie and them. And now that they're about to get evicted behind those choices, they're looking for Captain Save. The Cape sale is over and no more are coming in. The Super Simps already got all the capes, so they could get with them. Oh, by the way, they are not brave because they are still afraid to leave the plantation and they attack other men. So how do you build a community with that? You don't. You leave and build a community elsewhere. With that said, I'm out.